Hello, thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I am Hoyt alongside Jurnee Taylor. We're going to begin with new information on some high-profile court cases, and we're starting with Joseph Duggar.
Yeah, the former 19 kids and counting star is accused of inappropriately touching a 9-year-old while on vacation and was back in a Florida courtroom today for a pre-trial hearing. His attorney says there are 5 witnesses in the case, with Duggar pleading not guilty. He is out on bond and is scheduled to be back in court on September 15th.
But he and his wife, Kendra, also face charges back here in Arkansas for child endangerment and false imprisonment. A hearing for that case is scheduled for August 10th. Meanwhile, a date's also been set for Crew Cavern, a Fayetteville teen accused of rape in a University of Arkansas frat house back in April.
That hearing set for September up in Washington County. Cavern has pled not guilty and is out on bond, but is not allowed to contact the alleged victim or be on campus. And finally, a lawsuit filed by former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee is still alive. In it, he accuses Meta, parent company of Facebook and Instagram, of knowingly allowing scam ads for CBD gummies to run with his picture and endorsement.
A federal judge tossed the case last November, saying the now ambassador to Israel hadn't proved Facebook could have known the ads were bogus, but an appeals court wants that lower court judge to go back and reevaluate that decision. Speaking of screens, in a world where there's a screen just about everywhere you turn, there's also a risk, and the feds are starting to take notice.
Reports of AI being used to create or manipulate harmful content have grown nearly 5,000 from nearly 5,000 in 2023 to about 182,000 in 2025. And until recently, Arkansas law only allowed prosecutors to pursue these cases if there was an identified child victim. But changes passed during the most recent legislative session expanded the law to include any AI-generated child sexual abuse material.
Well, Benton County prosecuting attorney Brian Sexton says that law enforcement, prosecutors like him, and state leaders plan to keep working to keep up with the technology as it evolves.
What we're finding out is the further we get with improvements in AI and technology, the more that we're starting to see. They're working closely with our legislators to make sure they are educated and are aware of the problems and that we can address them properly in the next legislative session.
Parents, he says, you should make sure you check in with your children to see who they're talking to and see what apps they are downloading.
Right now, Pulaski County leaders considering a temporary pause on new high-intensity digital infrastructure projects. We call them data centers, while they work on some new regulations.
The Court Reports Agenda Committee is taking up a proposed 12-month moratorium on data centers and other utility-intensive industrial developments in unincorporated Pulaski County. TV 11's Catherine Rowley is there and will bring us the very latest tonight at 10.
If you have plans this evening, be prepared to encounter some showers and thunderstorms out there. You see them making their way from Tennessee, Mississippi into central Arkansas. So the opportunity of some super soakers will be going up over the next 1 to 2 hours. Here's what's happening in central Arkansas at this time. Nothing really in Pulaski County, but we have showers and thunderstorms in parts of Faulkner County, Grant County, also even as far west as Garland County, with more showers and thunderstorms over to the east. Heavy rain happening around Clinton. We've got that heavy rain now spreading its way into Conway with some lightning and thunder. Also Searcy involved in the rain and thunder activity. It extends its way down through Prairie County, moving from east to west. So it'll be moving into Lono County shortly, extending down into Arkansas County, and then also a strong storm right on the border of Drew County and Ashley County. The chance of showers and thunderstorms sticks around through this evening into the overnight hours and also on your Wednesday. Want to keep that rain gear close by throughout the day. Temperatures where it's rained situated into the 70s, West Memphis, Stuttgart. Meanwhile, it's still 93 in Hot Springs. Tomorrow, with the clouds and the chance of on and off showers throughout the day, the numbers only topping out into the mid 80s for highs. But don't get used to this, because the heat and humidity come back in full force as we go into the weekend. More on that forecast coming up.
All right, Nathan, thank you. Sorry to deliver this during the dinner hour, but health officials are pointing the finger at lettuce or salad greens as a potential source of cyclosporiasis. That's that intestinal illness that's now spread to more than 30 states, including Arkansas. There are typically only a few hundred cases a year, but right now there are thousands, and worse, some health professionals are now saying just washing your fruits and vegetables may not be enough to protect you. THV 11's Tamer Knight speaks with a doctor at UAMS about the safest ways to consume produce amid this outbreak.
If you want your fresh fruits or fresh vegetables, you're going to no longer have them fresh if you're going to heat them hot enough to kill these cysts.
Cooking produce to at least 160 degrees is the most effective way to kill the cysts created by the parasite that causes cyclosporiasis.
If you want to have 100% certainty, you got to heat it up.
That guidance applies to both fruits and vegetables. Dr. Robert Hopkins with UAMS says washing and drying produce is still important during the outbreak, but it's not enough.
Cleaning as best you can, wiping down, those kind of things, that's going to help, but it's not going to completely eliminate the cysts if they are contaminating that fruit or vegetable.
Even store-bought produce washes don't eliminate the risk. Dr. Hopkins says knowing where your produce comes from can help lower your risk.
If you grow them yourself and you're careful with what you use to water, you got nothing to worry about. If you're going to your local farmer's market and you know how they prepare things, that's probably a relatively low risk. If you're going to your local grocery store, you're probably relatively low risk.
People at higher risk, including those with compromised immune systems, young children, and older adults.
The real risk is to people who have immune compromise, people who are young, our little babies, our older adults, and those who have chronic health conditions.
If contracted, people who are otherwise healthy may recover from severe symptoms if they avoid major complications.
Most otherwise healthy adults are going to be able to get over this infection if they get it without major complications or without treatment.
Tamer Knight, THV 11 News.
All right, Tamer, thank you. And Doc Hopkins reiterates that it's still safe to consume salads, berries, and other produce at this time with the proper care. Meanwhile, hospitals across the state continue to blame insurance companies for putting them in a financial pinch. A new report from the state's lobbying and hospital trade group says the combination of post-pandemic inflation and low insurance payments has forced providers into making cuts. The report says hospitals got stuck with more than $1.2 billion in unpaid care back in 2023. A separate study finds that 1 in 4 Gen Z adults don't have a primary care doctor. This one comes from Ohio State University. Now, younger generations typically don't rely on doctors as much as older groups, but this study found that Gen Z faces some unique challenges. It says it's harder for many of them to find a doctor that's willing to accept new patients right now. And urgent care clinics make finding a primary care provider less urgent.
Well, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders holding a press conference earlier today to announce that Arkansas has jumped to the top of a new national scorecard on religious liberty. The study done by First Liberty Institute looked at 50 legal protections across 20 safeguards, from schools and health care to family law and worship, and gave Arkansas an 89.2% score. That's 4 points more than Tennessee, which came in second, and the only 2 states to earn an excellent rating.
Jesus commands us to live out our faith boldly, and the Constitution protects our rights to do so. And in this administration, we don't just believe that Jesus is our living hope. We will always stand up for the rights of Arkansans who believe the same.
Well, the group says Arkansas moved up after passing House Bill 1615, tied to wedding ceremony objections. More on the rankings can be found on our website. That's THV11.com. Well, momentum toward a school district breakup is building. Supporters of separating the schools in Sherwood from the Pulaski County Special School District showed their math homework today. THV11's Carter Threet checks whether it will add up to a new district soon.
12 years after Jacksonville did it, Sherwood wants to do the same.
We are moving forward on creating a Sherwood School District,
which would split off from the Pulaski County Special School District. The Sherwood Education Foundation commissioned a third-party feasibility study to see if they could pull it off. They released the results at a press conference Tuesday.
The study had 6 key findings, 1 bottom line. Number 1, the statistical impact and the racial composition of the remaining Pulaski County Special School District would remain unchanged.
It also notes that Sherwood is the largest city in Arkansas without its own school district, and it would have nearly 3 times the tax base Jacksonville had when it formed a district in 2014.
I just think that it's a great opportunity, and I think that if you don't try it, you don't know.
Next, the PCSSD will need to approve the idea, followed by the state board, and finally the voters of Sherwood. The PCSSD didn't respond to a request for comment Tuesday, but Foundation member Linda George says she's optimistic.
They have already, as a board, had their own resolution saying that they supported Sherwood's efforts to create a district.
For the foundation, the study shows the how of how Sherwood could support its own school district. But just as important as that question is the why they believe this is a good idea.
I'm here today because I believe that Sherwood and our kids deserve its own district. I believe that a district with local decisions made by people who live and work in this community is truly what we need.
In Sherwood, Carter Thweet, THV 11 News.
All right, Carter, thank you. Well, the new district will be made up of 9 schools, 6 elementary plus Sylvan Hills Middle, junior high, and high school. Foundation members plan to hold a town hall next Tuesday at 6 p.m. to answer additional questions about the proposal. But after the break, how the Little Rock Zoo is helping you save money while spending time with friends and family.
Bands of showers and thunderstorms are making their way from east to west throughout the region this evening. I'm going to have a radar tour and talk about how long you need to keep that rain gear close by and how much rain we can see coming up.
Plus, an Arkansas woman brings home the gold again. How she added to her trophy case from the National Veterans Golden Age Games. That's all when we return.